After the show's cancellation, Dark Shadows retained a very strong cult following throughout the years. In 1975, Dark Shadows became the first soap opera to be syndicated on television, as repeats of the episode were being shown on other stations. By mid-1980s, NBC and MGM decided to revive the show. Creator Dan Curtis decided to use some of the storylines from the old show for the revival and make a Dark Shadows that fans remember but never saw. By fluffing up the storylines and using the important plot points in these storylines so as to make an abridgment of the original series episodes, that the storylines move along faster. In 1991, the 12 episodes were broadcast. The storylines used are Victoria Winters' arrival, Barnabas Collins' resurrection, Joey Hoffman's attempt to cure Barnabas, and 1790. The story, instead of being 1795, they made it 1790 so as to make Barnabas exactly 200 years old. This show showed great promise for being a great series of its own, but also do honor to the original series. Every bit of casting was perfect for each role. The sets and locations were gorgeous, and I like how much like House of Dark Shadows, there was more horror and blood in the show. However, being a soap opera in the 90s unfortunately meant it has 90s soap opera cliches like hairy, shirtless men with fake, sweaty bodies, and men with stubbly beards. I know these cliches because my mom back in the 90s watched soap operas and I saw this stuff. But I did like some of the changes they made to the show, like Maggie being a psychic medium and having an affair with Roger, and making Victoria Winters more important by having her being an exact reincarnation of Josette. Unfortunately, this show only lasted 12 episodes because in January of 1991 we became involved with the Gulf War, and people were more interested in the news reports rather than the entertainment. But when the shows were shown, it got good ratings, but not enough to continue the series. I wish they did continue it because it would have been cool to see a modern interpretation of the series and characters, especially since future plots and storylines were hinted at in the show, like Laura the Phoenix. It would have been awesome to see whom would play her, and I would have loved to see who would play Nicholas Blair and Quentin. After this cancellation, they did try to revive it yet again to continue the series, but it never worked out past planning stages. Soon after, Warner Brothers obtained the rights and commissioned a pilot to be made to revive the series, but only a pilot was made and the series was never picked up. The show added new characters like Willie's sister and a greedy girlfriend. Unfortunately, this show hasn't been released publicly and only shown at a few Dark Shadows conventions. I have not seen this pilot, however I have read about it, and some fans liked it and some didn't, for one reason or another. Character development, acting, the new additions, etc. But this pilot was not finished. Warner Brothers pulled the plug before it was finished. Maybe if it was finished, opinions might have been different. But in 2012, Warner Brothers made what they thought would be a more profitable adaptations of the series, and it's one people are more familiar with today. The 2012 film starring Johnny Depp and directed by Tim Burton. But that'll be our next video.